Blackouts aren't always just power failures. They can be doorways. Whether it's a vanishing city, footsteps that follow in silence, or a world that forgets the people in it, these stories all begin the same, with the lights going out. What happens next is what you'll wish you could forget. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more scary stories. This happened during a heat wave in July, but I remember it so clearly because I was doing tail-end spring cleaning. Yeah, I know. Most people do it in March or April, but I procrastinate. That Saturday, I finally cleared out my storage closet, mopped the floors, and even vacuumed behind the fridge. The kind of cleaning that makes you feel like you did something right with your life. It was around 3 p.m. The sun was blinding through the windows, not a cloud in the sky. I just turned on some music and started sorting old boxes in my bedroom when the power went out. Everything just died. Music, lights, AC, total silence. At first I thought I tripped a breaker. I checked. Everything was fine. I opened my apartment door to ask a neighbor, but the hallway was dead quiet. Too quiet. I live in a mid-sized apartment building, 3rd floor, not far from downtown. Usually by 3 p.m. you'd hear someone vacuuming, or a TV blaring, or a kid running down the stairs. But there was nothing. No sound. Not even from outside. No cars, no birds, no wind. It was like the whole world had muted. I stepped into the hallway and knocked on my neighbor's door. Maria, a retired nurse who watches soap operas at full volume. No answer. I tried the next apartment, then the next. Still nothing. That's when I realized how hot it had gotten. The air felt thick, like standing in a greenhouse. I could feel sweat starting to drip down my back. I headed outside. That's when things got worse. The parking lot was empty, not just of people, of cars. All of them gone, even mine. I walked out onto the sidewalk and down my block. Every house, every yard, every porch, empty. No open windows, no music, no lawnmowers or sprinklers. Just this eerie, dead-still silence and a heat that felt like it was pressing down from the sky. I pulled out my phone. No signal. Not even a no-service warning. Just a black screen that wouldn't turn on. I started calling out, shouting. Hello? Is anyone out here? Nothing. Not even an echo. Just the buzzing in my ears from the heat and silence. I walked 5 blocks in total. Down toward the main intersection. Past the library. The grocery store. All of it was deserted. No broken windows. No abandoned shopping carts. Just like everyone had stepped out at once. I went into the market, hoping for a person, or a phone, or a working light. The door creaked open and shut behind me. I walked between the dark aisles, calling softly. Nothing. No music. No humming fridges. Just the distant sound of something dripping. I followed it to the produce section. One of the misters was still going, water beating on the empty lettuce racks. I turned around, and every cart in the aisle had been pushed into a perfect line behind me. I hadn't heard the move. I ran back outside, and that's when I saw the note, taped to a telephone pole. Not paper, cardboard, like from a cereal box torn at the edges. It read, "You're out of sync. The others aren't gone. You are." Below that were 4 scrawled rules in thick black marker. 1. Do not stay in one place too long. 2. If you see movement in the windows, don't go inside. 3. Don't answer if someone knocks. They're not looking for help. 4. You can come back, but only if you forget what you saw. I stared at it until the sky started to dim. It was barely 4 p.m., but the light shifted. The sun didn't set. It just drew back, like someone was turning it off behind a dimmer. The shadows got longer. And then I saw it. A figure across the street, standing perfectly still on the corner. No face I could see. Just long arms, thin body, too tall to be right. I stepped back toward my building, and it took a step toward me. I turned and ran, didn't look back. By the time I reached my front door, it was darker than midnight, but I hadn't seen the sunset. I slammed the door shut and turned all the locks. And then, right as I sat down on the floor, 3 knocks from the other side of the door. Slow, deliberate. I remembered rule 3, don't answer, so I didn't. The knock stopped, but the handle began to turn. I ran into the bathroom and shut myself in. No lights, no phone, just me and my breath. And then, like someone flipped a switch, the lights came on. The AC kicked back. My phone buzzed with a notification. I opened the door. It was 3:07 p.m. Sunlight blazing through the windows. The world was normal. Outside I heard traffic again. Kids playing. Birds. But taped to the inside of my apartment door was that same cardboard note. The rules were still there. Except a 5th one had been added. 5. If you remember, you'll slip again. So I try not to think about it. But some days, when it gets too quiet outside, or the sun dips just a little too fast, I check the windows, I check the locks, and I keep my mouth shut. Because remembering is how it starts again. This happened to me last year, in the middle of a brutal summer. I was working the late shift at a 24-hour supermarket just outside Portland. We'd been having rolling blackouts that week because of the heat wave. I'd already gotten used to the store running on backup power and ringing people up with a flashlight in my hand. It was just past 2 a.m. when I clocked out and started walking home. I live about 4 blocks from the store. Short distance, usually peaceful. But that night the city was dead, silent. Streetlights were out. Cars parked, windows open. The air was heavy and humid, like breathing through a wet towel. I just turned onto my street when I got that feeling. You know the one, like you're being watched. I kept walking, but I slowed down. Didn't hear footsteps. Didn't see anyone. But every part of me screamed, "Don't look back." My building came into view. 3 stories, old brick, faded numbers over the door. I lived on the 2nd floor. I rushed the last half block, climbed the front steps, and punched in the entry code. It didn't work. I tried again. Still nothing. I looked over my shoulder. The street was empty, except it wasn't. Someone was standing across the street, far enough to be just a silhouette. No details, no face, just stillness. Like they'd been there the whole time, and they were watching me. My hand shook as I typed the code again. Click. The door opened. I slipped inside and shut it fast. No footsteps followed, but when I looked through the lobby window, they were gone. The building was pitch black inside. I used the flashlight on my keychain and made my way up the stairs. Wood creaked louder than usual. When I reached my floor, I heard a door creak shut behind me. None of my neighbors should have been awake. The hallway felt wrong, not supernatural, just off. Like something was waiting. I rushed into my apartment, locked the door, and deadbolted it. But that feeling didn't leave. I turned on my emergency lantern and sat in the living room, still sweating from the heat. Every few minutes, I'd glance out the window. Still dark. Still no power. Still too quiet. Then I heard it. Scratching. From the other side of my front door. Not knocking. Scratching. Slow. Shallow. Fingernails against wood. I froze. Then it stopped. A few minutes later, It started again. I crept to the peephole. No one was there, just the empty hallway. But when I pressed my ear to the door, I heard breathing. I didn't sleep that night, just sat in the dark listening. Sometime after 4 a.m., I heard a whisper through the wall. Cass, not Cassie, not ma'am, just Cass, like someone who knew me. It came from the vents. I turned off the lantern. Dead silence again. At sunrise, the power kicked back on. Lights buzzed. A sea sputtered. Phone lit up. No messages. No missed calls. I showered, dressed, and opened the front door to leave for my next shift. And taped to the door was a piece of torn cardboard. No handwriting, no warning, just a single black fingerprint in the center. I looked up and down the hallway. Empty. I didn't tell anyone at work. What could I say? But something had changed. Now at night, I hear footsteps in the hall. But when I check the peephole, no one's there. Sometimes I hear someone say my name from just outside the window. I live on the second floor. And twice now, I found black smudges on the inside of my apartment door, like someone pressed their fingers there while I was sleeping. If you ever walk home during a blackout and feel eyes on your back, if the door won't open right away, or you see someone standing just far enough away, don't look for them. Don't listen. And whatever you do, don't let them in. Because once they know where you live, they don't need the power to find you. This happened during the middle of July last year, when a heat wave knocked out power across half the city. I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment on the edge of downtown. I don't scare easy, but I haven't slept right since that night. The city was cooking, heat shimmering off every window, fans doing nothing. Around 9:30 p.m., the lights went out. Whole block. Everything died. AC, TV, phone signal. At first I figured it was just a brownout, but the silence that followed wasn't normal. It was heavy, thick. No car alarms, no dogs. Not even the buzz of crickets or distant traffic. Just a strange stillness, like something had paused the world. I lit a candle and cracked a beer, hoping to wait it out. But after about 20 minutes, I started hearing this faint sound from the hallway. Dripping, slow, steady, like a leaking pipe. But it didn't echo right. It wasn't water. It was deeper, thicker. I opened my door and peeked out. The hallway was longer than usual. I live on the 3rd floor. My apartment sits in the middle of a short hall with 6 units total. But now the hallway stretched. It looked like it ran the whole length of the building, way too far, and the walls were wet. That was the first sign something was wrong. The second, my phone turned itself back on, but the screen was completely black, except for 4 lines of red text. You have slipped. Follow these rules. Do not break them, or you'll never come back. Then it flashed and shut off completely. I backed into my apartment and locked the door. That's when I saw it. Carved into the drywall above my light switch, 4 jagged rules. Deep gouges, like someone used a knife. 1. Do not leave your apartment after midnight. 2. Do not look out the windows after 3 a.m. 3. If you hear knocking from the inside of the walls, answer it only once. 4. If you see your reflection move differently, leave immediately. I laughed nervously. Someone had to be messing with me. Maybe one of my neighbors pulling a blackout prank. But then I remembered. I hadn't seen anyone for hours. And the hallway didn't make sense. I sat in the dark, candlelight flickering against the walls, just waiting for the lights to come back on. Midnight came, and something knocked on my apartment door. Once, twice, 7 times. I didn't move. The rules didn't say anything about that. Then the knocking stopped. At 1:17 a.m., the dripping noise started again. But this time, it came from inside, not the bathroom, the walls, directly behind the fridge. I pressed my ear to the drywall, and I heard breathing. Then, knocking, from inside the wall. Rule 3. Answer it only once. I placed my palm flat and whispered, "Hello?" A pause. Then a voice, muffled, guttural like it was deep in concrete, replied, "Don't forget, you're the replacement." Then silence. At 3 a.m. exactly, my phone buzzed again. It was dead, but the screen flickered. This time the text just said, "Look," and my body moved on its own. I turned to the window. The city wasn't there, not even blacked out, just void, pitch black. No stars, no buildings, just space. And in that space, something tall and pale was crawling, sideways across the sky like a spider. It stopped, turned, and looked at me. I slammed the curtain shut and threw up. I ran into the bathroom to splash water on my face. That's when I saw it. The mirror. My reflection wasn't moving. I blinked. It didn't. I turned my head. It smiled. Rule 4. I didn't pack anything. Didn't grab shoes. I just ran. Out of the apartment, into the hallway, and into darkness. But the hallway wasn't there anymore. It had looped. A wet, endless stretch of repeating doors. Each one slightly different. One had no handle. One was upside down. One was pulsing, like it was breathing. I ran until I saw it. My door. Number 312, the real one. I didn't hesitate. I opened it and dove through. The lights were on. The fan was spinning. The city was loud again. Sirens, distant car horns, people talking outside. My phone buzzed. Just a text from my brother, saying the blackout was over. But when I checked the wall above my light switch, the 4 rules were still there. And now, there's a 5th one scratched beneath them. It remembers who leaves. I don't know what happened that night. I don't know if I actually escaped, or if this is some mirror version I'm stuck in. All I know is, I don't own any mirrors anymore. And if the lights flicker, I don't move. If your power ever goes out on a humid summer night, and the silence feels wrong, if the building stretches, or your phone gives you instructions, follow them. Exactly. Because when you slip between layers, only the rules know how to get you back. And some versions of you stay behind